Welcome back to Conversations with Kimmy, episode 2, baby. Yeah. So I ran into a video of T.I. just going off on this comedian in Atlanta. Apparently, the comedian just brought up the sexual assault allegations that he's had in the past, and that provoked T.I. to just go into a rage.
Evidence, because there was no crime. There is nothing to charge me for. Or my right. No, shut the up for a second. Hey, listen. No. As many times as you jump on that shit, I'm gonna check your mom as long as it takes. When you stop talking about it, when you stop playing with me and mine, I'ma stop saying something. Ain't no motherfucking case, ain't never been no motherfucking case, cause I ain't did nothing wrong and my wife ain't did nothing wrong. And if you keep on playing with me, nigga, I'm gonna continue to confront you publicly, verbally.
There is no charge.
I don't wanna hear none of that. Don't play with me about that.
I haven't put his
Hey. Don't play with me about that.
I'm not. The one thing I am is a comedian. I'm not playing with you. See, now you're getting misunderstood. This is not a rap battle. This is not that. This is a motherfucking comedy show. And be clear, if I want to make jokes about something, I'll make jokes about something. Absolutely. And no, you're not going to tell me to shut the up at my This is my Be very clear. This is my
No way. Get it back.
Grabbed a mic and was telling her off on stage. He was not holding back, by the way. He did not want to leave without saying his side of the story. It took me back to what had happened at the Oscars. And by the way, I was actually filming episode 1 of this podcast, so I didn't really actually see the award show. But I did, obviously scroll down social media and I ran into the clips. And when I saw those clips, it took me by surprise. I was shocked. I didn't think it was real at all. I, in fact, was trying to read the comments, what people were saying. People thought it was staged. Others said, whoa, did this just happen? It was so real. And when I first saw it, I saw the reaction of the crowd. And I think the crowd was also processing what was happening. Was this a skit? Because Will Smith is all about that on Instagram. Ever since he got on Instagram, I don't think he's been off duty. I think he's been working every day to put out new content. And I'm not gonna lie, we appreciate it. But after that happened, it got a lot of people to feel a lot of mixed feelings towards Will Smith after that. And I was one of them. But I think after days went by, I just kind of started analyzing what really happened during that moment. And, we're all human. Our emotions get the best of us, especially if we've been bottling in a lot inside, like I think Will Smith has. Me personally, I've been trying to be better at that, to where I need to communicate more on what I'm dealing inside. And if I'm feeling a certain way about someone, I need to let them know how I feel before they get a reaction out of me. And I don't think I've ever had that happen, to where they get a reaction out of me and I want to be physical with anybody. I've never had that feeling. If anything, I've gotten into arguments with people, but then I feel bad and, I just don't feel right about that. But going back to Will Smith and Chris Rock on stage at the Oscars, I do not at all condone violence. I will not justify in this podcast about the assault that happened there either. In fact, it was totally wrong what Will Smith did. The best way that he could have dealt with that emotion, he could have addressed it in a Will Smith way, the bigger way. And I wish I would have seen that, and we didn't, unfortunately. And hopefully we do get to hear from him, his side of the story. However, even if he has his own side of the story, it does not justify his behavior on stage. And I am sorry. I am a huge Will Smith fan. And believe me, I tried to be even on his side when that happened. And I'm that type of person where I want to see the good in everyone, even if they made a huge mistake like that. But every action has a consequence, and Will Smith needs to take these consequences that are coming. Unfortunately, that's how we all learn, right? We do something that was not right, and then all these consequences come and hit us in the back of our head when we least expect it. That's how we grow, and we find who we are truly destined to be. We learn from those mistakes and move forward. Drake once mentioned about his mom having a 72-hour rule. The whole concept behind the 72-hour rule, apparently Drake was just reading stuff about himself online this one day, and he thought it was complete BS. It really actually got to him, and being in the entertainment industry, you have to have thick skin, right? Apparently, this time though, it really just, he didn't know how to deal with his emotions. So his mom had a 72-hour rule. Basically, if it doesn't matter in 72 hours, then let it go. Move past it, move on. By that time, somebody else is probably talking about something else, and someone else is on the spotlight. And whatever was said about you or whatever you did in the past is long gone by now, because everyone's moving forward with different stories. So he said, I waited 3 days, 72 hours, and I felt so much better. I didn't really care about what was said about me or how I felt at the moment. But after the 72 hours, he was like, I just let it go. I moved on with my life. This is a great rule that we should all live by. I don't normally like to go silent or, not communicate about my feelings. I think if the opportunity presents itself, I will do it right then and there. But then I realized that if I do that, my emotions will get the best of me, and I won't give the best explanation, nor will the person get the best side of me at the moment, right? Because I feel like when we all get so caught up with our emotions for a very long time, we explode. And a lot of us deal with these feelings differently. So what I have done is I've actually waited 3 days. Within those days, I have reflected on my actions. I have reflected on what I was feeling. I have also reflected on what the other person might have felt or is probably feeling. That gap allows me to gather my thoughts, be in a much better place mentally and emotionally to where I can actually give the best of me. Unfortunately, at the Oscars, it didn't give Will Smith a lot of time to reflect or to stop himself and think about what he's going to do before he did it. I was watching a video online that explained all about his body language and why he did what he did. Also, it explained Chris Rock's body language and how he must have felt and why he didn't react to the slap. And it also talked about Jada's body language, and it's this body language analyst that I ran into. I'll put down the link of the video so you guys can watch it in the description below. The body language analyst just really went all in with the explanation on each one of them and their reactions during that show, and how he believes that this was not staged. He explained how Jada reacted to it. So when she rolled her eyes like, oh, here we go again, it's like not the first time that she's heard this joke. Didn't Snoop Dogg have a comedy roast battle? During those battles, they would say so many ugly, nasty things about each other, but they will laugh it off and they would try to come up with a better joke. Chris Rock could have done some nasty jokes about Will Smith, I'm sure, but he kept it classy. He restrained himself from going off and possibly even ended Will Smith's career. We don't know what they know. And he kept it classy in that regard to where he didn't expose it much more. Jim Carrey made a great point comparing sadness versus depression. He said, sadness, it only means that, you're sad because things didn't really go your way. You didn't end up getting the job you wanted. You got a ticket for speeding and you are sad. But depression means that your body is just tired of playing this character on a daily. Depressed, your body needs deep rest. So it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to cry it out. It's okay to take a long drive and just let all your emotions out, and then be in a better mental state to where you can finally address this with whoever you need to address them. I do that a lot. When I feel a certain way, I like to take long drives. I like to listen to music. There's some times where I don't listen to anything. I just like to be in my thoughts and just gather myself up before I get back to doing what I need to be doing. What works for me is a lot of prayer. I find a very silent, quiet place to talk to God. And even though I don't hear him or, hear anything, I do feel him. And it's a very powerful feeling when you know that you're being listened to and knowing that someone is there for you, even if you can't see them in a physical form. We all have work to do. I have a lot of work to do with myself as well. I'm a work in progress, but at least I love to recognize my wrongs and try to fix them to make them right at the end of the day. Before I got into the entertainment industry, two of my mentors, shout out to Greg and Dre, you guys are probably going to hear their names a lot when I do be telling stories about radio. I remember when I got promoted to producer on the show, there was a lot of mixed feelings, mixed emotions that I was receiving from the audience, from our listeners. And, don't get me wrong, at the time, obviously, I was new to everything. I was finally getting some more airtime. And I'm not gonna lie, I did get nervous. Sometimes I do get nervous when it comes to, being live on TV or on the radio. A response from our listeners early on wasn't the nicest response, and it wasn't the sweetest response either. In fact, it was very hurtful when I was going back and reading the comments when we went on a live stream, or if we had a certain topic that we put online. I was reading those comments too, and they were very hurtful at the time. But I think the learning experience I got from that is that, yes, I would cry when I got home and I would feel a certain way. But I think I never questioned my potential, and I never questioned who I was and who I am now. And I was never the type of person that fought with people online when they disagreed about something that I believed so tough on. In fact, I'm the type of person that just loves to spread love and positivity to everyone. So early on, I was getting some not so positive feedback when it came to me being on the mic and chiming in on certain topics and kind of trying to take over. But you have to understand that at the time I was very excited to be on air, to finally get more mic time. And don't get me wrong, I was nervous. I mean, it was, something that I've always dreamed of, but it's finally here, so I'm going to take advantage of the moment. But I think I took advantage of the opportunity a little too much, to where now I was kind of trying to talk over them. So early on when I was reading those comments, I went home and I sent screenshots to Greg, right? And I was like, look. And so he calls me and he's like, Kimmy, took a deep breath. He was like, okay. He was like, you need to understand that people are going to say ugly things about you because they don't know you yet. They don't know you. So whatever they're saying about you are solely assumptions. You're going to be reading a lot of hateful comments, ugly comments that you're not going to like, that are going to make you feel a certain way. So your feelings are valid. He said, but you can't dwell on those comments because there's going to be a lot more people that are going to be supportive of you. They're going to get to know you little by little. Those people are the ones that are going to defend you. So you don't even have to respond to these comments. You're going to have your full-on supporters, the people that ride for you, who are going to have your back. I got to a point to where I gave them the opportunity to get to really know me. And it got to a point to I was getting way more support than I was getting ugly or not so positive comments, right? Sometimes I think about that time and I think, what would have happened if I would have responded to those comments and tried to defend myself at the time with more negativity. I would have probably added more fuel to the fire and it would have been a nonstop thing, right? Now I was going to be this outrageous person who always had something to say when I didn't like what was said about me. So I took the higher route and I acted more like myself. Like, what would I have really done, or what would God want me to do? And even though some of those things clearly I did not want to let go of, I always tried to respond with kindness, and I always tried to respond with the Kimmy way, my way, the bigger way. And don't get me wrong, there's been so many times where I just want to go all crazy and all out and, let my emotions get the best of me. But I think deep inside, after the 72-hour rule passes, I think I'm going to feel good about choosing the bigger route. Now, I definitely know myself very well. I have done a lot of major internal work with myself and still continue to do it because that never stops. But I know for a fact that if I would have acted in the not so Kimmy way, I would have lots of regret and probably a lot of embarrassment. So why would I want to feel that way if I know that I can totally avoid those feelings and then act in a much better way once I feel ready to express how I truly feel? And if it's something that I've been holding in for a very long time, it's going to come out in some way. And believe me, I am not perfect and I have exploded in the past, but I'm learning to be better at that. I'm learning to express and communicate better with my feelings, things I am going through, things that I have been dealing with, because at the end of the day, it's not healthy. I do believe that when you're ready to finally open up about those feelings or just things that you've been dealing with or going through, you should definitely do it, but take your time. I like to tell people that they don't need to talk about things that they are going through on the spot. I do feel like everyone should take their time and think things thoroughly. The way T.I., Will Smith, and other celebrities have reacted to their personal situations, that is now personal to where I'm going to make a statement one way or another. It really saddens me that all these celebrities or influencers or just anybody who's in the public eye are constantly being bullied because of their personal lives, things that they expose or they go through, or people just assume. However, on the flip side, I really hope that those who are in the public eye can take a lot from this and not really expose everything that people should not know. And unfortunately, there's this whole thing about who's real and who's not. And apparently to the audience, you're real if you can expose all your secrets and if you can expose the most vulnerable part of you to others. But I think a lot of people like to prey on that and take your vulnerability for a weakness and will try to poke and poke and poke on that until you just can't take anymore and they'll explode. They are human too. I think we forget about that. And then if you don't really open up about your vulnerability like that or your deepest secrets, people call you fake. And I just don't think that people should hold on to that in that way, because we're all human. It's almost like, I'm telling you, hey, expose to me all your deepest secrets, your wildest dreams, and all your vulnerability stuff about yourself, because I deserve to know. No, nobody deserves to know anything. Whatever you want to put out there, cool. Whatever you want to keep to yourself, it's cool too. Nobody owns anybody. But if you do decide to put out your personal experiences out there, I like to do that a lot too, because I feel like a lot of people out there can relate. And I can be helping somebody else out there because they're not the only ones going through what they're going through, because I also went through it, or I'm going through it at the moment. So there are parts about my life that I like to put out there so that others know that they are not alone. But there are also a lot of parts of my personal life that I'm just not ready to tell or put out there, or maybe I won't be ready at all to put out there because that's some personal information that I like to withhold with myself. And the people that are the closest to me are probably the ones that know the deepest info about me. And if I do that, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not being the realist with you, because I am being the most transparent person, especially on this podcast. And that's what I have been working my entire life to be and to do. And that's why it came to a point to where I felt ready to finally get on camera, get back on the mic, and just be my full-on self here. And I really hope that y'all can become a part of this family. It makes me feel very safe and very protected that I've had listeners from my previous career job that have continued to follow me throughout this journey, even throughout my imperfections. And I am not perfect still. I'm going to continue being imperfect to come along in this ride. So I thank y'all. According to selfcheck.org/healthy habits, there are 3 different stages of stress. The first one is acute stress. Now, we experience acute stress multiple times each day. It can occur when there is a challenge, a perceived threat, or when something unexpected happens. Include giving a speech, arguing with a spouse, getting stuck in traffic, or getting a speeding ticket. The symptoms of acute stress develop quickly and do not last long. Some people may experience irritability, anxiety, sweating, headaches, stomach pains, or a rapid heartbeat. The second stage is called episodic acute stress, and this occurs when we frequently experience acute stress and can develop as a result of taking on too much responsibility or being overburdened. Type A personalities, or people who worry constantly, are more prone to experience this type of stress. The symptoms of episodic acute stress are similar to those of acute stress. However, they occur more often and accumulate. If not managed properly, symptoms can lead to serious health problems such as clinical depression or heart disease. Now, the third stage is called chronic stress. The APA defines chronic stress as stress that is constant and persists over an extended period of time. It is the most harmful type of stress to our overall health. Chronic stress can be caused by poverty, abuse of any kind, a poor work environment, having a dysfunctional marriage or family, or substance abuse. Symptoms of chronic stress can become overwhelming. Some people may experience fatigue, changes in appetite, difficulty sleeping, headaches, or difficulty concentrating. Chronic stress, left untreated for a long time, can have serious consequences and lead to health problems such as obesity, heart disease, hypertension, or diabetes. Stress sucks, and our bodies can handle stress for a short period of time. It is not equipped at all to hold it all in and just wait long term to see how everything else plays out. Seeking healthy ways to manage stress can really help us in the long run to avoid risking any health complications. I mentioned earlier that I like to take long drives when I'm just feeling overly overwhelmed about everything. And I like to just get in my thoughts, pray, or listen to music. I like to also listen to Pastor Mike Todd on YouTube. He has a lot of great sermons that I try to scroll down to see which one fits best in my life at the moment. And whatever I select, it actually speaks a lot of volume into my life. A lot of this stress happens because we're not where we need to be. But there is no time limit for anything. There is absolutely no required timestamp to where you need to be here because you're this age, or you need to be here because you've done all these things, but it's led you up to nothing. No, we all are at our own time. Our destinies, as I believe, are already written for us. So wherever we need to be, we're going to get there eventually. Always stay with an optimistic heart and open mind. And as I like to always remind people, let go and let God. Let God handle your situation. Leave everything in God's hands. And trust me, okay? You go and sleep at night because you go and sleep at night. It works for me. But one thing is for certain, I really hope that we are all working on ourselves internally to where we won't make a temporary emotion get the best of us for a permanent decision to where it will just take us off course. Just like Will Smith said that Denzel Washington told him backstage. Denzel Washington mentioned to him, like, whenever you're at your highest moment, that's when the devil comes for you. And I hope that whatever happened on national TV that day, it can all be a learning experience for you, for me, for them especially, and we can all move forward in a more positive way, in a more positive light. And I really hope that maybe you can apply the 72-hour rule when you're feeling some type of way about something that you don't agree with or that you don't like. And apply the 72-hour rule in your life so that you can give yourself that time to really think this through, reflect, and then do God's work after that. It's definitely been a life changer for me. And I continue to be a work in progress. So your girl ain't perfect, and I will never get to be perfection. Even if I make mistakes, I can learn from them. Just like we are learning from the mistakes these public figures make on national television. Well, that is all for today. Thank you guys for watching episode 2 of Conversations with Kimmy, the podcast. Let me know in the comments some advice that you might have for those who are going through something and just don't know how to react upon their emotions. Maybe we can help someone out. In the comments below, make sure you subscribe, like this post, share it, blast it, post it everywhere, tag us on social media at Conversations with Kimmy on Instagram and my personal account at KimberlyKJM. I'll put everything on the description below. All the links that I talked about in this podcast as well will be below. God bless, and until next time.